I squirm with embarrassment talking about the day when I lost my call. And the worst thing, I still had to face him the next day to get the job done. It was coming up to the client deadline. 9 months hard graft, multidisciplinary team management and hundreds of thousands of budget spent. And right at the end of the project, to help me, my boss brought in a technical project leader with an ego bigger than the universe. It was his ego or my project, and my project meant the company's biggest project finished on time and on budget. I needed my best assertive skills to negotiate resource time with Mr. Big Ego. Previously, I had allowed him to walk all over me. This time it had to be different. It was way, way too important. When he walked in and made his usual unconstructive comments and laughed at me, I flipped and I resorted to aggression. But this time, I didn't just lose my cool, I blew my top higher than the stars. My lack of professionalism, my foul language, and my personal attack went way past anything that would be considered acceptable in a business environment. Actually, in any environment. Afterwards, I was mortified and embarrassed. The results? He became more obstructive and more difficult and blankly refused to make my project a priority. The worst thing was I had to face him the next day because I had to get his team to finish my project. What I needed then was assertiveness without being passive or aggressive. What I needed then was to manage myself and my emotions, my state. Instead of getting wound up by Mr. Big Ego and allowing him to cause me to react into a place I didn't want to go and instead focus on what I had in my control, me. If I had focused on me, my emotions, myself, my state, I would have been in a much more resourceful and with all my experience, I've been able to clearly set the outcomes I needed, influence him into the reasons that would move him to action, not mine, and get the job done. The second I lost control and lost my cool, I just made the job 10 times harder to get the outcome I was after. I completely lost everything in that situation and regretted it the second after it happened. So how do you be assertive in these highly charged emotional situations without losing your cool? There are many different tactics, but first and foremost, it all starts with managing your breathing. If you think back to a time when you needed to be assertive and you weren't, I bet you weren't breathing very well, if you're breathing at all. When you step into these situations, instead of focusing on what is going on around you, just take 30 seconds to breathe calmly and confidently and just focus on that. No one will notice around you, I promise you that. If you have a good breathing pattern, you'll be able to be resourceful in any situation you find yourself in, and I guarantee you'll find a better solution. Well, I did manage to get the resources I need. I did get the company's largest and most important project launched on time, to much celebrated applause by everyone. What happened to Mr. Ego and me? To be honest, I can't even remember. About 3 months later, the company made half its workforce redundant, and when my boss had to choose between himself, Mr. Ego, and me, he chose himself, of course, and the rest of the team went into the unemployment line, me and Mr. Ego included. If I learnt many things during that contract, I did learn some of the art of perspective, and that all the emotional energy and stress came to an abrupt end which was completely out of my control. And in the end, all you can do is manage your state, manage your emotions, so that you get to live the best day you can, every day you can, and smile at the ironies of life. Discover how to get clarity, confidence, and take the right action towards what you want. Get my free access to my free webinar now at www.rebalancedliving.com.